Hi, it's me, the old geek guy. And I thought today what I would do is talk to you a little bit about my low vision problem. I have what's called macular degeneration and also ischemic optical neuropathy in both eyes. And both of those make me have low vision, of course. My father had macular degeneration many years ago. And so I can truthfully say that my journey, so to speak, with macular degeneration and my low vision entirely probably started about 20 years ago when my father began to see vision problems in his, I don't remember which eye it was. I think it was his right eye. It's same with me. My right eye started worse than my left eye. But I would take him to the doctor. In those days, all they had was what they call laser burning. So they would burn the part of the eye that had the macular degeneration, and that would slow it down, if it not just to entirely stop it. But the problem was that it would burn everything, and so the center or the focus part of the eye, which is called the macular in your retina, is what you can't see anymore. So its center vision is gone. Well, he had some still in his right eye, and he began to see a difference in that because the doctor told him to use an Amsler chart. An Amsler chart is this chart that has square like that and has lines going this way and lines going that way, and then a centerpiece. I'll put one up for you to show you. And you look at it, and if the lines are distorted in some way, either way or any way, or if you're kind of blinded in one spot, you know that you're getting macular degeneration or some kind of eye problem, usually macular degeneration. Unless you have diabetes, it could be due to diabetes. But at any rate, he would see that, and he would go to the doctor, and the doctor had to get a referral back those, just like they do today. And it took a long time to get that referral, like 2 or 3 weeks, and it was getting progressively worse, because once you get macular degeneration, you don't do something to stop it, it comes on pretty fast. Two types: wet macular degeneration and dry, AMD. AMD wet, AMD dry. I started out with the dry, and I became wet. My dad never told me. I never talked to him about it. I don't know what his symptoms were, but I can tell you what my symptoms were. And I began to feel those symptoms probably personally about 5 years ago, maybe. I think 5 years ago, maybe longer, 6 years ago. I would notice that when I would look down at an escalator, you know how escalators have those lines that go in to the grooves. They're grooves on the steps of the escalator, and I would see them, and they would be kind of wavy. And I thought, that's interesting. They're wavy. I didn't realize that that's the beginning of macular degeneration. And in that case, it was dry, which is something that they don't have a lot of remedy for right now. They're getting there, but they're still kind of slow on the dry macular degeneration. At any rate, I was like that for probably 2 or 3 years. Another thing I noticed too was that I would go into a place that was reasonably dark. In fact, it was very dark to me. I couldn't see. Dark areas were even darker for me. And give you an example, I love Disneyland. We would go to Disneyland, go into dark rides. I don't know if you know what a dark ride is, but that means that it goes in tunnels and inside, and it's dark, and it shows scenes and so on and so forth. Well, I noticed that I couldn't see anything in the dark, much less the scenes. I could barely see them, but it was extremely dark for me, and it was almost like I was blinded. And I had to go with somebody and put my hand on their shoulder to kind of help me, guide me through this. And it was kind of weird to me. Well, what is this? Well, anyway, those are the symptoms that I had at first, and they were quite a while back. But those were symptoms of macular degeneration. At that time, like I mentioned, that would be the dry type of macular degeneration. Many times, not all the time, but many times, the dry will get into wet macular degeneration. And wet macular degeneration, you can look it on YouTube, and there's all kinds of explanations for it. But basically what it is you get swelling behind the macular or the center part of your vision, a swelling because the blood vessels begin to swell up for some reason. It's usually old age, and that's me, old age. I'll be 83 in a couple of weeks in April, and this is my 2024 that you might be seeing this later in another date. But at any rate, I would begin to get this blockage of vision, and I went to a optometrist, a very good one, as a matter of fact, thank goodness, because the first thing she saw, which is, something, I think you have wet macular degeneration. I'm going to give you a referral to so-and-so. And that's when I started with my treatments for this macular degeneration. It was back in 2019, December. 2019 in December, I think I had my very first treatment. What is the treatment? Well, as horrible as it sounds, it really isn't as bad as it sounds, and that's what everybody told me anyway. What they do is they inject your eye with Avastan. Avastan is a chemotherapy medicine for cancer. This is not cancer, but for some reason, because the way it would affect the cancer in somebody, it would help in the macular degeneration, at least stabilize it. Some people it makes it better, but most people it just stabilizes it so it doesn't get worse. I still had a little vision, and I still do have a little bit of vision in my left eye where I began the macular degeneration. And the portion of my eye that I don't see is like a crescent. And it just barely hits the center of my eye. So in order to see anything clear with this eye, with my left eye, my right eye, I have to look just a little bit to the right. Not much, just a little bit to the right. But the problem is when you look a little bit away at something, even if it's just a fraction, your focus changes to that, and all you see is a peripheral vision of what that you're trying to look at. Give you an example. Coming up to a signal, a traffic signal, red, orange, green. Okay. I have to see what the signal is. I have to look at the signal and just to the left, just to the right of it a little bit, not much, to see that it's red, yellow, or green, and I can go. And I understand that. So that's the kind of macular degeneration I have in my right eye. My left eye is very strange, very strange. It's totally different, although it could work itself into this problem where I'd be blind in certain spots. To this date, I'm not quite there yet. But what I do see is distortion, but major distortion. Remember I talked to you about the grooves and an escalator, and you look down at the different stairs of the escalator and those grooves, how they would be like this. Well, now it's a lot. If I look at Venetian vertical Venetian blinds, or I look at a fence that has stakes in it like that, vertical, they go way out like that, way out, and underneath they go like this. So what I see with my left eye, if I try and read something, I see the words going up and down like that, up and down like that, up and down like that, like that. And so it's difficult to read. So it's been getting a little bit worse. And this particular problem that anybody has, macular degeneration, it is progressive. They can't stop it entirely. They can slow it way down. I've been 4 years already, and I think I'm going on to 5 in December, if I'm not mistaken. So it can slow it down to a point where you don't even notice the progression of it until you remember what you did 2 or 3 years ago. And that's where I stand now. And so another problem with macular degeneration isn't just blindness and low vision. Your eyes go out of sync. That's the only way I can tell you. They go out of sync. One is vision is like a little bit above the other like that, and also because of the vision is distorted, it also acts like a funhouse mirror. Sometimes it looks like it's really big, and other times it looks like really small. Well, that's kind of what I see out of my left eye. And so this eye is fighting this eye all the time. And so what I have to do when I read, I don't really read a lot anymore. What I do is, unfortunately, computers and tablets and iPhones and all these electronic devices, you can tell it to read or speak the reading for you, voice reading for you. And that's what I do most of the time, because I really truly can't see it unless I make the letters really big. I mean really big, up to maybe 3/8 to a half an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch maximum, but that's big on a tablet. And that's what I do. Tablets work better because it shows light through the tablet instead of shining on the tablet. The light coming through the tablet makes it much easier for me to read. And also, a lot of the information that I can read is also black background, white letters. That makes it real simple for me to read too. But black letters on a white background, the white background's too bright, and so I don't see the letters nearly as well. So my journey with macular degeneration is still going on, and I'm now down to an injection, first my left eye and then my right eye, every 3 weeks, one eye, every 3 weeks, one eye. So I go to the doctor and get an injection every 3 weeks in my eyes. And it's been stable, it's been stable, and I've been able to drive a little bit. I don't know why California would give anyone like me a driver's license, but I did renew it, and I went on a driver's test, a regular driver's test, and I passed 100% on that. They said I was perfectly fine to drive, except on freeways, and I don't particularly want to drive on a freeway anyway. So that's where I stand right now. I'm sitting there right now trying to cope with this macular degeneration, because this is difficult. Because of the way it is, I don't see depth very well, and depth is what, for the first 8 or 10 feet, you can tell distances of things and the heights of things better in that area because of the three-dimensional depth. Their two eyes work that way. Beyond that, it's just two-dimensional basically, and you don't need to worry about depth. But I look down on the ground and I can't see things on the ground because it's not clear. It's not clear. In fact, my whole vision is not clear. What I see is like a haze, a really hazy day, with not foggy but hazy. So maybe your vision is only maybe 2, 3, 5 blocks away, maybe 10 blocks away, but you still see things, but they're really hazy. And that's what I see, and dark also, kind of dark and hazy. That's what my vision is right now. So just to let you know, I'm working on it still, and it's a thing that I have to go through for the rest of my life if I want to keep my vision to a certain level of stability. Is getting these injections every single 3 weeks, every 3 weeks at a time, maybe 4. Maybe they'll get me down to 4 weeks again, which would really be nice. And maybe I'll just have to do this the rest of my life. My dad suffered the rest of his life with his vision, and I'm fortunate that they've come up with this new technique of injections in the eyes with these different kinds of medicines. Avastan is not the only kind. There's several other ones, but they are super, super expensive. Avastan is almost nothing because it's like a drug that's been around for many, many, many years, and there's generic, and you can get a price break on that. So it only costs me like $15 a month for Avastan, where the other ones might cost me $1,500 a month for injections. So I'm sticking with Avastan for the time being. At any rate, if you have any questions, you can put them down below in the comments, and I'll try to answer the questions for you, and maybe even find videos for you so you can see a little bit more about what macular degeneration is and why it's affecting so many millions, yes, literally millions of people nowadays. And it's because of people are lasting longer. They're getting older. They're lasting longer, and of course more physical things happen to them when they do that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Sometimes I come up with some interesting things. I don't know, maybe not, but I think there are. And thumbs up always helps too. So thanks a lot, and talk to you next time.